was not recording. Thank God I'm noticing this before it's too late. Okay, now I think the sound's recording. Everything is working out. Welcome back. I'm feeling really excited about this season because, I mean, it is a huge one, and this is one that, because of the physical aspect of it, because of the bleed, it's something that we're already aware of happening. And not just us, but also the people around us. We really see it, and we might also really feel it. I feel like there's a lot of misconception around the period where it is a time to just retract, and it is a time where sometimes a lot of feelings of like unworthiness or like almost like feeling as if our bleed is like something dirty and something we should be ashamed of or hide. What I really want to talk about today is like the actual like gift that our bleed is, and that our bleed can be if we allow it to be, and if we really connect with it. So yeah, like the menstruation is about from day 1 to day 6. Maybe some people just bleed for like 3 days, maybe you bleed for 8 days. I really see this time of bleeding as like, whoa, I've been building up a lot of things throughout the whole year of those seasons, throughout all the previous seasons, and like on a physical, emotional, energetical, and mental level, and the bleed is like really like a cleanse for the system in a way. So the archetype for this season is the wise woman, and yeah, I feel like there's a lot of misconception or like idea that like we should hide when we're on our period, we're not able to like do anything. It's like, whoa, but this going inwards phase, this winter phase, this cocoon that we're in our bleed is filled with wisdom and clarity and potential. And if we allow and create space for that to be tapped into. Let's go into all the aspects so I can like give some more like concrete examples of what it's like for me when I'm on my menstruation. So on a physical level, I feel lower energy, and I don't feel as cranky as I did in the fall, because I feel like, well, physically, like bleed is shedding stuff out of my body through my bleed. So there's a bit of like this physical relief of like, it's coming out. So I'm still feeling like slow, and I really want that bleed to be able to like come out in a way that doesn't feel painful, in a way that can just happen as it's meant to. Sometimes my low back or my hips or my lower belly gets a little bit cramped and a little bit stiff, and I find that like slow movement like this, for example, kind of like helps things circulate and the blood flow to circulate and get out in a smoother way. Anything that I feel in the moment, if I feel energized, like there are times where I'll feel like I want to go on a run or do like a little bit more intense yoga on my bleed, and I will listen to that while also considering I'm bleeding. So I need a lot of rest when I'm on my bleed. I tend to get really fatigued like the couple days before I bleed, or even like the night before I bleed. I'll like fall asleep at 7-8 p.m. and that's just the body going into full rest mode and shedding mode. So I really listen to that, and I'm feeling really calm and grounded. It's a death phase where like there are things that are dying or have died within us, and like the bleed is like this extra thing to like push it out on a physical level. For me, I really see that death as like a renewal. So yeah, I can feel like how that dropping that fear around death and letting go of things and surrendering really helps in embracing that process, and also welcoming the renewal, the new, the unknown, the mystery of what's coming after that. Or it's not after, it's like through letting go, new can come in and then like shift. So like, yeah, on a physical level, I do feel that like kind of renewal. It's like just the last end bit of shedding, and then to start into renewal. On an emotional level, I can feel quite sensitive on my bleed, but also very intuitive. I find that I'm more sensitive in the fall than on my bleed. On my bleed, I feel soft, and by then I've also like really embraced that like alone time and going inwards. So like that cocoon is already being created throughout the fall. Yeah, I can also at times get easily triggered. I can feel a little bit more sad. Can feel into like some attachment wounds that are being released on an emotional and physical level. Anything like a little intense is too much for me in this phase. Energetically, I'll really crave alone time. It's like a time where I retrieve energetically from others. That being said, I will still enjoy one-on-one. Yeah, I will want like soft hugs and embrace and soft touch. I find that like touch can help also like in bringing warmth in those parts of my body that feel a little bit tense around my bleed. So whether I touch myself or like allow other people to like touch me on my low back or my low belly. It's also like the bleed is a time where I feel really good around women. With Kayla, my housemate, it's been really interesting how our cycles have kind of, well, my cycles kept really regular, but her has kind of shifted back and forth. And yeah, we had like our cycles on separate times, and then after a month of living together, she got her cycle exactly on the same day that I did, and we bled together. And so it was really beautiful to like be in that phase together. And then her cycle shifted again and she bled like really quickly after. So I think it's kind of like adapting. I feel like my cycle has not been affected or like changed as much. Woo, there's some winter sunshine. Oh, this is so pretty and so bright. Yeah, it's been really special to like bleed together, and also when we're not bleeding together and we're like opposite, like she's in her summer while I'm in my winter, she's very nurturing and has this like motherly energy, and that's very comforting and nurturing while I'm on my bleed, and vice versa. When she's bleeding and I'm in my summer, then I can be the mother and nurture her. So it's all beautiful. But yeah, like on an energetical level, I feel really like I want to be around her or any close friend. I'm feeling like environments that are quite peaceful and quiet and slow and warm. It's a time where I will feel like I don't really want a lot of demands made out of me. I want to be in my own self and with my own truth and my own wisdom and connecting to that. So like I really want to be given space and giving myself space and respecting that. The first like 24, wait, it's too bright, I can't open my eyes. These cloudy days have been messing up with me. I love them, but they're not consistent for video making. One thing that I felt has been also really serving and supportive in like connecting to that inner wisdom and clarity and intuition that's available on my bleed and other times of the month as well, but especially in this time, is to just sign off social media for a few days. And that's a practice that I want to implement more now, also moving forward. So if you're feeling like overwhelmed and cranky and irritable and very sensitive while you're on your moon, then I encourage you to create space, whatever that looks like. If it's tuning out of social media for 2-3 days, and if you can, tuning it out of work and just allowing ideas and thoughts and your deeper knowing to come out in that phase. In your own way, how can you create more space for yourself and for your body in this specific time of the month is really special and important. And then finally, on a mental aspect, I find that I like to not absorb things. I can tend to want to absorb things because I'm like really slowing down. I'm like, oh, but I'm not doing anything, so I want to absorb things. I find there is true power in like not distracting myself from absorbing things outside of myself. So like, yeah, sometimes I'll go like 24, 48 hours without reading or watching a video, and just like journaling or painting, like just being in and creating from that place and receiving information from within as opposed from outside. But because it's a very visionary time for me on a mental level, and very intuitive as well. So it's a beautiful time to generate ideas and to feel it into that. Like a great time to ask yourself and your, like on a soul level, what do you want, what you don't want? Like what do you want to leave in that past cycle, and what do you want to bring in that new cycle that is just starting? So it's a time of like transition, of like letting go of what's old, what's not just old, but what isn't serving, what you no longer want, what you don't feel is loving and supportive and expansive, and welcoming what you feel would help and support you in that. Big time for a connection with that inner voice, and like connecting more deeply on like a soul level, really going to the core of who we are. And that's what winter is about. That retrieving inwards is there for a higher purpose. It's like we're going into the cave and we're gonna come out so much wiser and loving, with like this deeper sense of like confidence that we'll be able to carry in our spring and summer. And it's just such a special time. So yeah, maybe if you can see your cycle being such a huge portal and sacred place for you to create a deeper relationship with yourself. That's what has happened for me. Wow, I'm so excited to bleed. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for following this series with me, and I'm also really excited to be back to some more vlogging after this series. So yeah, thank you for sticking along, and I can't wait to share more of rest of life with you soon. So yeah, I'm sending you a big hug. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next week. Bye.